What's up, guys? Aroneous here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. We finally did it. We beat Secret Room Floor 12 on the hard Doom Tower. This is the hardest rotation for Secret Rooms, and Stage 12 is definitely the hardest. I can confirm because I've done it, and yeah, it's definitely the hardest floor out of all the Secret Rooms that I've ever done. And that means now I've completed pretty much every single Secret Room, all the Doom Tower rotations, on normal and hard as a free-to-play player. This is my free-to-play account. And yeah, if you've never watched my channel at all, any of my videos on my channel, feel free to smash that like button. Please help me out a little bit. Maybe subscribe to the channel would be really, really awesome. And yeah, so in this video, I want to show you the champions. I want to show you the gear that I utilize. And I want to show you some tips and tricks that you can use if you're struggling on this Secret Room floor. So let's do this. All right, y'all, so we got to go straight to the Doom Tower. It is Secret Room, floor 12, right? So hard Doom Tower here. Move myself a little bit out of the way so you guys can see that. It took me 102 turns, and these are the champions that I utilized. I used the two starters, Kale and also Elhain. Both of them hit hard. I also utilized this guy, which many people don't actually use, at least that I'm aware of. I've never seen a video of somebody put out using Fleshmonger. The reason why I love this guy is because he has the big version of decreased defense, plus this ability on a 3-turn cooldown, basically is a 2-turn cooldown of granting an extra turn, but he places increased attack and increased crit rate on himself, and you can go right into this. But personally, what you want to do is use this ability first, then afterwards you're going to use this ability, use the A1, and then try to cycle back around to Tornado Cleaver as quickly as possible. He does have a 75% chance of landing the big version of decreased defense on all enemies. And because of that, we bring in one champion that does as much damage as possible. And in this case, I ended up having to put all of my strongest Savage gear, or just in general, if you have strong Savage, strong Lethal, any of your strongest damage gear on your account, it doesn't necessarily need to be Savage. Having Savage and ignoring 25% of the team's or the enemy's defense is massive. If you put him in a mastery for Helm Smasher, that's going to help as well. Or you could use the masteries for War Master. That's fine too, but Helm Smasher just continues to ignore more defense, which is going to be even more beneficial for you in the long run, because you want to kill these waves as quickly as possible before they can even take too many turns against your allies or against your champions, because of the fact that they hit so hard. Plus, they have a lot of defense, they have a lot of HP, and they're a little bit faster too. So, Elhain, stun set. My Apothecary is also in a stun set. Does he need to be in a stun set? No. He can actually be in other sets as well. If you wanted to put him for full damage, you could do that too. But stun set's nice because he does have a triple hitter here. And then you can go with the mastery for, I think it's called Fearsome Presence, which allows 5% higher chance to land a debuff from any of your artifacts or skills. So that's massive. You definitely want to do that for any of your champions that are in a stun set for this Secret Room or just waves in general. So, and you want to put it on a stun set on champions mainly that have AoEs, especially multiple AoEs. And I'll go over a couple of other champions that are magic affinity that you could potentially use as well in place of these champions too. Now, Banshee is definitely an A+ champion here because her A1 does have a small version of decreased defense. I don't even have her booked out. I just have her in a stun set. She has no masteries, but she's just using A1 the entire time. You do not need to use these other abilities because all you need to do is the A1 over and over and over and just pray to God that you're going to get a stun. Okay? Now, it could take you a couple of attempts, quite a few attempts to do this. It only took me 2 attempts because of the gear that I swapped off of my strongest champions and put it onto my Kale. So you should be able to just swap gear around on your champions when you get to this stage. You don't need to keep on grinding and grinding and grinding and get more gear to add on your champs. You just need to take off your best gear and put it on the champs that you already own, which will make things a little bit faster for you in progression in general. So that also works. That same strategy works for Faction Wars. You should just be taking off gear that you already own, conserve your resources, which is silver, swap it over to your other champions that you have, and then you don't have to keep on grinding gear which then depletes your silver because you're putting all your silver into the new gear that you just got. Now, of course, if the gear is not strong, then yes, you want to farm for better gear. In this case, you do want to have at least 5-star and 6-star gear when you're going into Secret Room 12. If you have 4-star gear, more than likely, you're not going to beat this stage. But it is hard Doom Tower on the latest stages, so more than likely, you've probably been playing for at least 6 months or longer to do this stage. So, yeah, so all those champs are really strong, Fleshmonger strong, and I'm going to go to the Tavern here. I can't do recently used, so I'm going to have to just go with them. Let's see what we got here. All right, so first we're going to showcase to you Fleshmonger. So Fleshmonger, he is in a stun set here. He's got pretty decent gear, I will say. 42,000 HP, 2,900 defense. You want to have good defense. You want to have good HP because you want to be able to take at least one hit. If you're dying from one hit, it's really difficult. So I did get hit a couple times here and there. Having Apothecary definitely helped because he can speed us up and he can heal us up as well on his A2 ability. And it can be a critical heal, which means if you build Apothecary with a 100% crit rate, he'll be doing a bigger heal on your allies. So 221 speed on this guy, and then 232 accuracy. You only need 220 to 230 accuracy. You don't need more, which is really nice for this hard Doom Tower Secret Room. On this gear, you're looking for accuracy. You're looking for some damage on your damage dealers. You're looking for speed, okay? You want to go as fast as possible. You want to be able to take multiple turns, okay? And then not all of my gear is ascended at all. This one just has one ascension. It is speed, which is fantastic, but it's only one ascension. And then the rest of it is 6-star, I will say, legendary, but over time, you're going to get better gear on your account. For masteries, I did go down with Fearsome Presence so that he has a 23% chance to land instead of an 18% chance to land that stun, okay? For his skills, I do have him fully booked. I put Phantom Touch for a little bit more damage, a little bit more attack. It's only a 2-star. It does help a little bit, but it's not required to have Phantom Touch Blessing on him. So the next champion that I utilize here, Kale, he's got the best gear on my account, okay? Kale was my first starter champion ever. And I had him in War Master because I used him in Clan Boss. But recently, because of the Secret Room, I wanted to re-gear him. So I ended up going with Helm Smasher. So I went all the way down with Helm Smasher, moved myself into the middle here. So I went with faster speeds every time he kills an enemy. I want him to be able to heal himself up if he's under half health. And because he's in my damage gear, he's the one that's going to be targeted the most because he has less HP and less defense than the rest of the team. So Helm Smasher, huge. Life Drinker, huge. And then for the support, I went with more accuracy and then a higher chance to land poisons because he actually does a good amount of damage from his poisons as well against these waves. Lore of Steel just because you want more stats. Now, his skills are all booked and then no blessing on him. He doesn't even need one. And then here's the gear. It is crazy gear for Savage. Well, not crazy. It's pretty good. It's pretty good gear for Savage. It's the best Savage gear on my account to put on a rare. 3,900 on the attack, 184 speed, 100% crit rate, 268 crit damage, 227 on the accuracy. All right, so you can see that he has decent gear. I do have a lot of ascensions as well because I pulled it off my best champions. Crit damage with crit rate, double roll with crit rate for the gauntlets here for Savage. That's my strongest Savage gauntlet on my entire account. Then we've got attack percent on the chest plate with double roll on crit rate. There's no speed, so it's not the best, but it's okay. Speed here with attack flat stat, crit rate, crit damage, and attack. That's what we're looking for on Fatal. Fatal's a good set. Attack percent and crit rate 5%. That is from the Doom Tower boss, okay? That is from, actually, I think this rotation right now, I think it's Eternal Dragon. Or no, this is a Magma Dragon, sorry. Magma Dragon, Fatal Boots, do not sleep on them. You can use them as offset pieces just to fill. They're like filler pieces. All right, so on this one here for the shield, we do have triple speed. So we're looking for speed, crit rate, crit damage on Fatal pieces, and a little bit of accuracy is nice too. But preferably, I would have loved to get attack percent on this piece here. That would have been fantastic. It would have made it a top-notch, ultra god tier piece. It's still a really good piece, though. And then we have the Savage pieces here. These are both 5-star. They are legendary, but they're 5-star, so they're not crazy, but they're really strong for my account. Going to the next one, you can see for his total stats, I already went over that. The next person is Apothecary. stun set. I did put him in the masteries for Fearsome Presence. I did go ahead with more heals, like higher heals, if they're below 40% HP. And I went with Evil Eye to reduce turn meter on the waves when he does the A1. Increase speed for each dead ally. So if someone does die, he's going a little bit faster, doing the A1, doing the heals, doing the increased speed on our team. He is fully booked, no blessing. And for blessings, I guess it doesn't really matter. You don't need the blessings to do this stage. The blessings are just going to help you with min-maxing your HP, your damage, things like that. To make it a little bit better for you, but you don't need them. 57,000 HP, 3,100 on the defense, 238 speed. So he's really strong here for the stage. He doesn't even really get hit much, and when he does get hit, he doesn't take a lot of damage as compared to our damage dealers. You just don't want him to be the last one alive, right? Because he's not going to do enough damage to clear those waves. Next one is Banshee. She has no masteries whatsoever. Skills, not even fully booked. She doesn't have a blessing, but she is in a stun set. Her gear is not fully ascended or fully upgraded. And she has 44,000 HP, 2,600 defense, 199 speed, 246 accuracy, a little bit of damage, but not much. She's not really a damage dealer. But again, all you're using her for is A1, A1, A1. You just want to try to stun those waves. And then one more champion we have, I believe. Yeah, one last one. Where's my Elhain? There she is. So Elhain, also in a stun set. She's at 54% crit rate, 179 crit damage. Not crazy. 52,000 HP though, with 2,500 defense, 215 speed. So the goal is, yes, we want a little bit of attack, we want some damage, we want some speed, but mainly you're looking for the speed, a little bit of survivability, because if you can't stun them, you need to be able to take at least one hit. If you can't take one hit, then more than likely you're just going to keep losing over and over and over, because if you lose a champion on wave 1, lose a champion on wave 2, you're probably not going to survive wave 3. Now, could you use other gear? Potentially. You could potentially go with definitely not lifesteal unless it's OP lifesteal. I would recommend potentially regen, but it has to be super fast. I personally recommend at least 3 people in a stun set and 2 people in super high damage. My damage dealers are Elhain and Kale. I'm going to go ahead and showcase to you the champions. Oh, for masteries, her masteries are not done. I just did the first few. I went with crit rate, crit damage, a little more damage when she has full HP, little defense, and takes less damage from AoE attacks. All right, so let me go ahead and showcase to you a picture of my run or the actual win, because I'm not going to do it again. I could, but it just takes a little bit of time. All right, so as you can see, I do have the picture here for you. So Kale, ridiculous amount of damage because I had my best Savage gear. I beat it in 4 minutes and 23 seconds. It was all manual. I don't know if I could do this on full auto. Maybe if I had everybody ascended fully, like with blessings and whatnot, and everybody was in even better gear, then maybe you could full auto, but unfortunately, I could not do that. So Kale, 1.1 million damage, coming in with a crazy staggering amount of damage. It was so much fun hitting. Maybe I'll show you a brief clip. Like I'll walk you through the first wave of Kale and how much damage he can hit when he has decreased defense on the floor. So the cool thing about the synergy with this team is we've got Fleshmonger with the big version of decreased defense and Banshee with the small version of decreased defense. So we're putting up that decreased defense as often as possible, so all the champions that are damage dealers are just doing as much damage as possible, so you're min-maxing your damage there. But yeah, so basically Fleshmonger is very, very strong. Apothecary is just there to help heal us up if we're, coming down to close to dying, right? We don't want to die. And Apothecary is there also to speed us up so we can take another turn and hopefully kill that straggler before they kill us. So let me go ahead and take you back. I'll show you the first wave, okay? And I'll show you how much damage my Kale can do in the current gear. And then I'm eventually going to just switch that gear back onto my main damage dealers. All right, so we're going to go right up here into Secret Room Floor 12. I'm just going to go ahead and show you the first wave and how much damage my Kale can do with the gear that I just showcased. So we're going to speed up. We're going to go ahead and do decreased defense. We got 2 stuns as well with the decreased defense. So here is, I'm going to slow it down. Here's my Elhain with just a stun set. Not too much damage. Let's go ahead and showcase that. Boom, boom. 6,000, 8,000. Nothing crazy. It's a double hit, so you're getting around 6,000 to 8,000 per hit. So maybe around 14k damage tops. And then you got Banshee. Boom. She's not a damage dealer, but look at all these stuns, right? Now check out Kale in my best gear. Boom. 45,000, 54,000. I mean, that's the damage dealer, okay? That's the difference. I did recently have Kale in all stun, but it wasn't doing enough damage, and the enemies were getting back around to their turns, taking turns and killing us because we just weren't doing enough damage with all stun sets. Okay, you need at least one person in high damage gear. All right, so basically I would just keep doing this over and over and over. I'd be targeting the champions and trying to make sure we constantly put back on those stuns. There's some more stuns. Maybe Banshee gets lucky. There's another stun. Maybe we get lucky. Boom, there's another stun. And you can see where I'm going with this, right? You want to keep on getting those stuns out there. There's another stun. So like sometimes I don't get lucky like this and I don't get stuns. So you can see I'm not landing stuns all the time. But then we want to try to get back around to Kale, 23,000 damage on the A1. So he's hitting fairly hard. But again, you're going to see they're probably going to take a turn unless I get more stuns here, right? So there's a turn right there, but we're able to at least take one hit, maybe one more hit potentially too because of the gear. Boom, we took another hit there. So you can see we're able to survive because we have some stats. Both of these people were stunned as well. Let's place the decreased defense, and then we smack them to the ground. Boom, 2 people are dead. Take this one out, and then you take this one out, and then you just keep going like that. I could probably do this for you, honestly, the whole way through, but I'm not going to do that because it takes a little bit of time. You guys understand where I'm coming from. So let me go ahead and just end the battle. But basically, that's what I did. Kale was smacking, just absolutely smacking. Look at all this damage. 417,000 damage just from the first wave alone. And Elhain in a stun set, not doing even close to that much damage, only 134k. And then Fleshmonger does a little damage as well. So other champions you could utilize, I didn't go over that with you, but you could utilize, go ahead and filter this, have a ton of champs here. So I do have 2 Kales that I was going to build, and I decided to stop building this Kale here. I did try to use Muckstalker. He just does an A1. He only does 1 enemy sleep, so it's not really worth it. You could also use Trugor. Trugor is a very strong champion. He has an A2, which does a stun on a 3-turn cooldown, and he has an AoE, which does a chance of increasing the cooldowns and potentially getting stuns out there as well. He just has a lot lower HP for the base. So low base HP, low base defense. This is only level 50, but he still has a very low base HP and base defense. You can also use this champion here, which is the starter, Aethel. She's strong too. She does have a nice grants an extra turn. She does do the 25% increase attack, which is I think it's the small version, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, small version, not the big version. Places a 30% increased defense, which is also the small version. And then she can go right into this, but preferably you'd want to do this, A2. Then on the next turn, do the A3, go into the A1, and then go back to the A2. So the cool part about these starters is they all have HP in all battles, so that's fantastic. The next one you can potentially use is going to be Candleguard. Candleguard's also a very strong champion. She has an AoE on the A2 with a weaken. She also has an AoE on the A3, which is pretty cool too, but she places an increased attack and an increased crit rate on herself before she attacks all enemies. So her pairing with this guy right here, Fleshmonger, would actually be very powerful because she could go here and she could be replacing your other damage dealer, right? So if you have another damage dealer there, which I was using, well, I guess not damage dealer, but I was using Banshee, she could potentially replace Banshee, and then she could go in with this ability here right after Fleshmonger. She'll hit hard, place the weaken, so now they'll have decreased defense and weaken on them, and then right afterwards she can go in with this ability, which increases her attack, increases her crit rate, and then smacks. So she could do a ton of damage as well, on par with Kale, I would say, with the Savage, maybe even more potentially if she has good multipliers. Another champion you could potentially use, you could use Marked as well. So Marked's a very strong champion. She has a decreased defense on the A1. It does book out to 40, 50, 60, 70, 80% chance. Not bad for a decreased defense, and it is a small version. She also has an attack all enemies right here on a 3-turn. and she has a block debuffs and an increased defense on all allies on a 3-turn. It's the bigger version of the decreased defense of the increased defense, so that's not too bad. And then defense and faction crypt, so that doesn't help us at all. But marked would be a very strong option as well. Another champion could potentially be Greybeard. He does do a provoke. He does attacks all enemies and freezes. So you could potentially just use him as CC. It is on a 3-turn cooldown, and it is a 25, 30, 40% chance to do a freeze for 1 turn. So it's not super strong, but it's decent. You could put him in a stun set or a provoke set and potentially freeze them and provoke them, and you can make this guy really tanky. You can also put him in he does place a shield buff on himself, 80% chance of placing a counterattack. It books up to 100% on a 4-turn. The value of shield is proportional to his defense, and it cannot be removed, which is cool too. Now his defense, his aura is in dungeons, so that's not going to help us here. But again, he is very strong for this secret room as well. One other person you could use as well is Judge. Judge is also a strong champion. He does have accuracy in all battles. He does have this cool passive of potentially landing decreased speed, decreased attack, or decreased defense. Obviously, you'd want him to land decreased attack. It's when he uses any of his hits. So this hit right here hits hard. 2-time hitter, fills the turn meter of him by 10% for each critical hit. And then also, this one right here, damage increases by 10% for each debuff on the target, stacks up to a maximum of 100%. He actually hits really hard on this ability. So Judge, don't sleep on Judge. He does a good job as well. I just don't think he's going to be doing crazy damage like Kale, because Kale has the poisons ability as well. So those are the champs that I would recommend. You could shout out to Avenger as well. Avenger is decent. Decreased defense on the A1, attacks 2 at random. And then this one always inflicts a critical. So she can smack really hard on 1 hit, but personally, I wouldn't bring her in. Some people have said that she's good, but maybe she hits really hard on 1 ability, but I wouldn't bring her in because she doesn't do an AoE. The last one I would do is going to be Rocktooth. Attacks all enemies on a 3-turn, attacks 1 enemy. But again, you just want to get back to the 3 turns. More than likely, you're just going to use the starter champions, though. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Please leave it in the comments down below if you were to offer up or have suggestions on other champions that you could use for that stage. And, you know, let me know how you guys do. Who did you end up using for the stage in general? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on a video soon. Peace.